Hey, welcome to the Wilson Combat Channel. My name is Massad Ayoob, and I'm here at Bill Wilson's Circle WC Ranch in Texas. We're going to talk to you today about the importance of not being the initial aggressor in any sort of physical conflict. Those of us who carry guns have to remember that any physical fight has the potential of escalating to deadly force. We were the one who brought the gun to the scene. Let's look at a very high-profile case. In the year 2020, the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery. Arbery was in a small suburban community in southern Georgia. Local merchants had called him the Jogger because he would jog into someplace, steal something, and jog back out. This was unfortunately unknown to the people who ultimately confronted him. Mr. Arbery was a convicted thief and a convicted shoplifter, but it was not known to the men who faced him on that fateful day. And prior bad acts of your opponent, if they were not known to you, cannot, as a rule, be introduced in your defense if you end up having to harm them or even kill them. The reason being because they were not known to you, they were not formative to the decision that you made and the actions you took for which you're now being judged. There had been some thefts in the area, and there was a building under construction that neighbors were kind of keeping an eye on, and there was even a surveillance camera there. Arbery was seen multiple times to walk into that building, wander around, but was not seen to take anything per se. Now, one of the neighbors was a man who had been an investigator for the prosecutor's office, and police had told a neighbor, look, if something's happening, call him. There's sort of a thing in small communities where a current or even retired cop is seen by their neighbors as the resident policeman. Well, this fellow took that seriously and felt an obligation. And when he got a call that the man who turned out to be Ahmaud Arbery was once again in that structure, he and his son jumped in a pickup truck and went looking for him. They were followed by another neighbor in his pickup truck who had his iPhone or smartphone camera going. That camera recorded the incidents that followed. They spotted Mr. Arbery, followed him in the pickup truck, and attempted to detain him. Mr. Arbery kept running, and the father, he and the son were both armed. The father was armed with what appeared to be a Smith & Wesson 686 357 Magnum, and the son had brought a Remington 870 12-gauge pump. The dad yelled at Mr. Arbery to stop or he would blow his effing brains out or blow his effing head off. Arbery continued running. The vehicle came to a stop. The son stepped out from the driver's seat with the 12-gauge shotgun. Arbery was seen on the camera of the third neighbor to rush at the son, punch him in the head, and try to rip the shotgun away from him. Gunshots were fired, and Arbery was seen to stagger away and fall, mortally wounded. Now, that snippet of video created a whole lot of misunderstandings. On one side, the argument was, here are three white guys chasing an unarmed black man that they had no right to chase, wielding guns. He probably felt that he was about to become the lynch victim of some Klansmen or something, and in a desperate attempt to save his own life, grabbed at the shotgun. Others, particularly members of the armed citizen community, seeing only the sudden punch to the head and then the grab at the shotgun, said, wait a minute, he's trying to take the good guy's gun and shoot him. He's the bad guy. The good guy has a right to shoot him. The law demands that we look at what the courts call the totality of the circumstances, and that includes everything that led up to the incident in question. If that young man, Travis McMichael was his name, had found someone in his garage and had armed himself with a shotgun, and the intruder had jumped him, grappled with him for the shotgun, and he had fired, it would have been an absolutely righteous self-defense shooting and very easy to defend. The pivotal moment to me was when the father pointed a gun and threatened to kill a man if he did not stop. He simply did not have grounds to do that as a private citizen attempting a citizen's arrest when he himself had not witnessed the crime for which he was attempting to make such a citizen's arrest. It was literally felony aggravated assault, and the jury saw that. The jury blamed those who followed Arbery for his death. All three men were convicted of murder and given very heavy sentences. Now, another lesson that we can learn from that, as he stood over the body of the man that he had killed, Travis McMichael called him an effing N-word. Subsequent search of social media showed that all three men had exhibited racial animosity, the N-word, and things of that nature. State of mind, motive are critical issues in cases like this. Now, that case was tried almost concurrently with the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, which we discuss elsewhere on the Wilson Combat channel. Rittenhouse had huge support from the armed citizen community, and I and others cheered when he was acquitted. The acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse and the shooting of multiple men when he was attacked during an Antifa-type demonstration in Kenosha was, in fact, justifiable with every single pull of the trigger, and it was a validation of deadly force and self-defense law in America. Why did we see so much less support, and indeed so much antagonism, toward the people who were involved in the Ahmaud Arbery death? We've just explained it. The elements of motive, the elements of rationale of the pursuit. If those men had simply stayed back, used their smartphone to call the police and said, look, this guy has been trespassing into buildings. We have reason to believe this is a man who's been doing other thefts. Here's his description. We're keeping an eye on him from a distance. And here's the vehicle we're driving. What's the ETA, the estimated time of arrival of the police? No one would have been killed. No one would have been hurt. And the three men who thought they were righteously protecting the community would be free men today instead of all serving very long prison sentences. Totality of the circumstances, motive, rationale. All of those things come together and have to for those of us who lawfully carry firearms. I'd like to thank you for watching the Wilson Combat channel. I'd like you to invite you to comment in the space that's provided here. We read all your comments, and many of our videos are based or inspired by some of those comments. Look forward to seeing you again at Wilson Combat down the road.